You're listening to Cattywampus.
Brian has been talking our ears off about how great Mandy is, and we decided that we would watch Mandy eventually. And the only way to watch Mandy was to appropriately make sure we were all pretty well versed in the world of Nicolas Cage and his oeuvre.
It's not worth it. Don't do it.
So we started with Face Off.
I thought I loved Face Off. I feel like every time we do this, I thought I loved something, and then you guys go and fuck it up.
I'm like the ghost of Christmas past.
Yeah. Remember that movie you love? Well,
yeah.
Watch it again.
Are
It's
you
like
sure?
the opposite of It's a Wonderful Life.
I don't hate Face Off. I definitely.
No, it's terrible. Don't get me wrong.
I don't hate it.
What else could you want other than the epic battle of Sean Archer, aka Batman, and Nicolas Cage, Castor Troy, aka the Joker?
It's not as epic as I remember.
It was pretty fucking epic.
I mean,
a dude can't get out of a car if it's not in slow motion to score.
In John Woo's universe, every bullet is high explosive, and everybody keeps firecrackers and fireworks in every box in every room.
Don't?
This movie will not have you asking the question, when do we get to the fireworks factory? Because the answer is fucking immediately.
You'll even hear the fireworks whirling off as the sound bullets make when they hit metal.
I mean, to be fair, I'm the only one here who's lived in LA, and I can tell you with authority, after living in LA for almost a decade, there's definitely fireworks everywhere in every building, ready to go.
I always store my fireworks and my CO2 in the same building.
Yeah.
And it's always right off the tarmac at LAX.
Right next to a jet engine turbine, ready to go.
Fired up for testing. Just no one around to watch it.
We're not even talking about anything beyond the first, 4 minutes of this movie.
That's what drives me insane.
But that's how epic it is. That's just a start. Where most movies don't even dare to dream to end, this movie begins.
It's a pretty epic movie.
It's very epic.
It's got a lot of action.
It does have a lot of action.
It's just real awkward.
It's overtly sexual in many disturbing ways.
Yeah, and
very
it's
upsetting
like,
ways.
it's like all over the place. Like one of the first times you see Nicolas Cage, he's dressed as a priest, and he's like grabbing a choir girl's ass.
Yeah, he sexually molests several underage girls, and that's not even the weirdest sexuality in the movie. There's the two siblings who make out at one point, which to me, I'm like, was there a cut line? Are they just lying about being? I wonder if they're just lying about being siblings.
They say brother and sister multiple times.
But maybe that the FBI just are wrong.
No.
I'd like to think they are. Because the alternative is disturbing.
Nick Cage at one point looks at her and goes, "When your brother's finished helping me." She does not correct him. And then he kisses
quotation marks.
He open mouth kisses her and then dies.
And then of course there's the delightful moment where Nicolas Cage's brother is gonna watch him fuck a stewardess.
Who's actually an agent.
She's an undercover FBI agent.
That doesn't make the fact that he was gonna watch
the brother's
any
like,
better.
Ooh.
And
then at one point, isn't he like, I wish this nature video would show some fish fucking.
Yeah.
I find it erotic.
Nothing gets me off faster than salmon spawning.
Okay, so Sean Archer is the head of, well, at first it seems like they're part of a covert counterterrorism thing, but then it turns out they're just the FBI.
The FBI.
Well, yeah, because at first he's like, we're the most covert agency in the world, which means we can't even get noticed when we fucking ask for something. And then he's like, you're the FBI. I'm like, people know what the FBI is. But anyway, so Sean Archer had a son who was murdered incidentally when Castor Troy, Nicolas Cage, tried to murder him. Castor Troy is a dangerous international terrorist. He's like your classic 90s villain where he has no political agenda, but the idea being that different foreign powers or terrorists would hire this guy to build them bombs or some kind, or take care of attacks. He's your classic Robert Ludlum character that doesn't really exist.
Your classic jackass that just fucks around and eats peaches all day.
Yeah. And Nicolas Cage decided, what if I played the character like the Joker, but way more sexual
and way creepier?
What if I played him with like the Joker, but way less realistic?
I think the interesting thing of this movie that, again, viewers who haven't heard of or seen this film before, is that the whole premise with face swapping means that at about towards the end of the first act, our actors, Nicolas Cage and John
Sw-
Travolta,
yeah.
actually swap
Switch places.
roles.
Sean Archer murders Castor Troy. So he thinks in a very very circuitous method with a jet engine. Unfortunately, Nicolas Cage, Castor Troy has planted a bomb somewhere. We know it's the LA Convention Center, but the heroes, alleged heroes,
Our heroes,
are wayward
our intrepid heroes.
They can't get anybody to talk, so even secreter division of the FBI or government shows up, and it's CCH Pounder, and she's like, 1, you didn't kill Castor Troy. 2, we kept him alive. 3, we didn't tell anybody. 4, we have state-of-the-art face swapping technology.
And you're the only one that can swap
You
places.
studied him so much you can become him.
because his physique was right, and he knew how his
Relatively
mind worked.
right. Yeah, the idea is that he could
They
play the
hit him
part.
with a couple lasers and they're good to go.
They hit him with some lasers. They put Nicolas Cage's face onto John Travolta, so Sean Archer looks like Castor Troy. They leave his face in stasis, and they're like, "You're going to put you in the secret prison that we've put his brother Pollux Troy, and you're going to basically get him to tell you where the bomb is." Unbeknownst to Sean Archer, Nicolas Cage, Castor Troy, wakes up without a face, manages to get his goon squad together, take everybody who knows that Sean Archer's done this, murder all of them after they put John Travolta's face on him. So now Sean Archer is Castor Troy, and Castor Troy is Sean Archer, and they have switched places, which is why the movie, of course, is called Face Switch. And
And then they face off.
Yeah, that's a
This
detail
is the
that bothers
weirdest reboot
me.
of Freaky Friday
It's just
ever.
This guy wakes up in a hospital. He wakes up out of his coma
With no face.
With no face.
Great
Makes
scene.
a phone call with no lips.
no lips.
Which, to their credit, he does sound like he's trying very hard to talk. But he's still making full syllables that you need lips to make. Anyway,
R&R in your work, doctor.
anyway,
As he smokes a cigarette. How do you smoke a cigarette without lips?
Hold it with your teeth.
yeah,
Why would you? Why?
You won't get a good drag with that. That's nonsense.
If you don't have a face, do
then-
you really
but then
give a
he's so-
fuck?
Alright, yes, so if you don't mind, I took some of your painkillers here.
And somehow this guy Troy manages to find out the only 3 people that know about this super secret, like,
Yeah, he really
dark
lucked
operation.
out that they were all, I don't know, in a carpool together or something.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
carpooling home.
The office is closed. Like, he wakes up and it's like completely dark. No one's there.
CCH Pounder, his friend, and the doctor, I guess, right?
Yeah, sets them all on fire and burns the whole facility down.
I assumed there was some nurse there who was like, oh, yeah, I remember that guy. We switched his face.
Oh yeah,
So-
that dude.
So how does he get his face back?
Well, yeah, so, okay, long story
That's
short,
Act
they
7.
trade places. Nick Cage is Sean Archer, so Nick Cage has to break out of the prison. Now John Travolta is Castor Troy. He decides to fuck his way through John Travolta's life. I know what I'll do. I'll try and seduce my wife and my daughter and people at work. And so Sean Archer gets out of prison. There's a really excellent action sequence that should be the end of the movie, in which they both stare at each other in a mirror, so they're shooting at themselves, which is really their enemy. And then you're like, what a great ending. I'm sorry, there's an hour left in this movie.
That was a really good scene.
You're like, what an excellent scene. That's really the summation, the culmination of this film.
And they both
And then you're
hesitate.
like, there's one more hour left.
Yep.
Yeah. And instead
It's
of
like, this
instead
is
of
the-
ending there, you end with
Big
a
speedboat chase,
with a speedboat
After a
chase
church shootout.
and a harpoon.
harpoons, and
Basically, Sean Archer learns to live again because he meets Nick Cage's old squeeze and basically finds out that she has his child. And then he decides to steal this kid because, he basically is responsible for the death of this kid's mother and killed his father.
Also,
so
this kid-
kid's mine now.
This kid just happens to look almost exactly like the kid that was shot
Well, he's got
by
a similar bowl
Troy.
cut, which helps.
Yeah.
I mean,
he has the time of his life,
You
does
look
some
like
drugs.
you look like every '90s kid
Yeah.
ever.
Yep.
Flash-
You in fact do look like one of the 3 ninjas.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Did look a little bit like Tom Tom.
Oh, yeah.
But after a massive boat chase,
That kind of came out of nowhere.
The only real explosions in the movie.
that's true.
During the boat
Firework-less explosions, yeah. Well, he runs into one police boat, which just serves as an explosive ramp for him to catch.
Because that's how boats work. If I hit your boat with my boat, I'll just run over it like a ramp.
Yeah.
No.
Why
It was a
not?
very flimsy police boat. Their
Or
budget
it was very sturdy,
thin.
but only that 45-degree angle.
Right, the superstructure, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, the superstructure of all boats.
It's a ramp.
Yeah, it's a ramp. That's how things are buoyant.
It's
They're
a fail
ramp-shaped.
safe, right? So,
So if another boat hits you, you just keep going.
you can just slide under them.
Yeah, you just go. whoop.
Yeah, you either go underneath and he goes above and nobody dies.
Yeah.
Read a fucking book, Corey.
Yeah. Haven't you read Moby Dick?
Sounds like I need to go rent a couple boats and do some testing on the lake.
Anyway, so he gets his face back. tech. And
So that's what I was.
Oh,
that's-
they like Joan Allen's like, don't worry, I told everybody. By the way, he convinces his wife he's really her husband, and she's like, okay, cool, face swap.
Some blood
that's,
tests will
That's why I
solve
brought
this.
it up though, because the 3 people that knew.
Well, she leans in and goes, we're flying in the best medical team from DC or from somewhere.
but they're all dead. Like the people.
Well,
that
you
did
have to assume that they
in
didn't.
LA, yeah, in LA, yeah.
You
But-
have to assume that they didn't invent the technology.
Yeah.
That I don't know. What do people? Is there a Nobel Prize for this technology? Do people know this technology exists?
I think it's stated directly that they have the tech in DC as well,
Am I
and they're
the
going to
only
fly
one that
him out
thinks
there.
it-
I think they say
Yeah.
they specifically they're going to fly him out there and get him fixed up.
Am I the only one that thinks it would have been a better ending if actually his old face had gotten destroyed? All of a sudden,
Yeah.
it's just like, you are stuck as this forever. You will
Oh, like
always
if there
look
were
like...
pathos or
Yeah.
stakes or consequences in the story,
Yes,
yeah, it would be
exactly.
better. Yeah, it would
Yeah,
definitely
Instead
be
of the
better.
stakes just being, that kid you had?
He literally-
It's mine now.
I stole my
Does
enemy's child and raised him as my own.
Does it not just cut from like the beach, Nicolas Cage dying to, hey, I brought this
So
boy home?
they're getting in the ambulance, and she's like, "We have the best doctors." And
Yeah,
then there's
and
a
then they
scene with
actually-
the doctors. And
Yeah.
He goes, "I don't need my scar anymore because I
That's right,
found it. I
that's right.
stole a new kid, so I can forget about my
That's
dead
right.
kid."
And then he just shows up and he's like, hey, by the way,
Wait.
family, I've got this little
I'm
boy.
home and I brought a kid with me.
yeah, oh yeah, he didn't tell Joan Allen. So like Dominic Swain, his teenage daughter's like, "Hey, you want to go see your room?" And then he looks at Joan Allen and mouths, "This is okay, right?" And she nods. Credits. And I'm like, "What? We're cool, right? That I stole this kid and we're gonna raise him now."
I adopted this. This is fine, right?
I brought this little replacement home.
Yeah.
it's going to be okay.
So this movie was 2.5 hours long, almost.
Was it?
Yeah.
Anyone got a timer on that?
How many
140
of
minutes.
those minutes were just awkward incest scenes or possible incest scenes?
At least 15.
At least
A solid
15.
7. I was gonna say a solid 7 minutes.
It might actually be 7, but it felt like 15.
Honestly, it was probably about 45 seconds, but they feel, even though they're not in slow motion, they sure as fuck feel like they are.
That first scene where Travolta as Castor Troy walks into his daughter's bedroom,
Oh,
I was
and
just
reaches
like,
for the cigarettes?
and I was just like, oh no.
Well, it's not as bad as later when he just fucking licks her face, and I'm like, this is horrifying.
Yeah, and then later on in the film, when he gets home, her first instinct isn't, I can't look at you properly anymore.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I shot you, Dad.
But then again, you did let this fucking happen to me.
Yeah, but then again, your choices in life led us to near ruin.
It did lead Mom to being pseudo-raped.
Yeah. It led to your mom basically. It led to my mom being raped. Man, there's a lot of rape in this movie.
Yeah.
This is a strangely sexual movie.
For John Woo, it's very
Yeah, it's
strangely-
really weird. It's high levels.
Sexually
I
aggressive.
really, I swear the last time I saw this, I was like 10. And I
This is
wasn't.
not an okay film for you to be watching at 10. It's
No.
sending you a lot
There's
of weird
some really
messages.
disturbing shit. Like I was shocked. So I remember that Danny Masterson plays like her boyfriend and like tries to rape her in the car, and John Travolta saves her. What I don't remember is some of the viciousness of the lines. Where what does he grabs her basically like by the throat, and it's like, you think your son of a bitch father's gonna save you from this? I'm like,
Yes.
holy shit, dude! This is not his first rape rodeo. He's done this before.
in
God
the
damn.
driveway.
In their driveway.
To be fair, he did save her, though.
Yeah, that's also really ballsy on that guy. It's like, I'm gonna rape the top cop in the country, famous FBI agent's daughter
In his
fucking
driveway.
driveway.
And, oh, the irony after not Travolta saves his daughter and teaches her how to use
Castor Troy in the guise of Sean Archer.
Thank you, David.
Troy and Archer. Gives her a knife, and then later on she uses it on him. Good irony.
The butterfly knife, yeah.
Aren't those illegal?
Chekhov's butterfly knife. Well, he's a dangerous international terrorist. A lot of things he does are illegal, like cocaine or nerve gas bombs.
I can live with those, but the butterfly knife?
You can live with the nerve gas bombs.
Suspension of disbelief.
All the rape. All the rape he's clearly done.
How much of that do you think his brother watched?
All.
Every part. It
I
looks
got
like
a
he's
sense
never
when
had
he's
his
like,
own.
when
Yeah.
He's like, what, when that dude in the prison's angry at him. So at one point, a dude in the prison attacks him, and Nick Cage at this point, who is Sean Archer trying to be Castor Troy. And so like this dude attacks him in the prison, and Pollux is feeling him out like, are you my brother? Did you do that face-off surgery? That maybe he knows. Like,
I read about that in
He's-
Popular Science.
I read about I subscribed to the New England Journal of Medicine, and I read about the face-off surgery. But Nick Cage plays it off like, oh, I'm so fried from my coma, man. I don't even remember before that guy attacked me. And Pollux Troy does this thing. He has this thing of his like hand is always like on his lips, and he's got his like pinky out, and he's like, "You had a sex sandwich with his wife and his sister when he got sent in," and he says it like, "Oh, I was there."
Well, he seems to have issues tying his shoes, so I'm assuming he doesn't get a lot of play himself.
That's just a setup so that when he falls, he can tie his shoe.
Yeah,
again.
I know.
Because he does care about his brother, which, you know, in itself is can be interesting, but it's, you know.
It can be, except when it's
Except when it's not.
It could be. Lots of things could be interesting, David.
in another movie, perhaps.
Yeah.
So I didn't even think about it, but this movie has a somewhat set up like The Punisher, and it also has The Punisher and the villain from The Punisher.
Tom Jane is in the movie briefly as a prisoner.
Yeah, and
Wait, similar setup in the Punisher in what way?
his son's killed, and he's like,
I guess.
"Oh, fuck this guy, I'm gonna kill him." John Travolta's the villain in The Punisher.
Yeah, he's Howard Saint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Famous Punisher villain, Howard Saint.
Yeah.
That's all you had to add. You're just like,
I'm just
it's
like,
I
I'm
just
just
wanted
like,
to bring that up.
I'm just like thinking to myself, like, they could have made the Punisher instead of whatever this was.
Nicolas
but,
Cage is the Punisher.
Ugh. Oh, Lord.
He's better as the Ghost Rider.
He's a much better Johnny Blaze.
So Travolta and Cage's acting.
A plus. A plus. So John Travolta, A minus. Nick Cage, A plus plus.
In every film he's ever in.
I really do think this might be my favorite John Travolta performance. Like, I do think he's good in things like Pulp Fiction, but if we're talking about like performance, I kind of like him in this movie.
It's interesting to see him with more flair.
It's interesting
And
him trying to
more-
channel Nick Cage.
Yeah, and
because
like,
he's not bad at it.
No, it definitely gets more interesting
That-
after the
when they
face swap.
switch,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, for both of them.
except for that one, was it John Travolta that was like almost Jim Carrey for a second in that weird scene.
When he's being interviewed by the press, when he
Yeah.
holds up the nerve gas to
Yeah.
the press, he's like, "Got him!" And he's like, "Can you comment on who set the bomb?" He goes, "Well, unfortunately, that's classified, but I would like to say one thing to them, if you don't mind. Interception. We got the ball now." And he says that his smile, his chin, his like inflection, it's like fucking Jim Carrey.
He looks
Yeah.
right at the camera as he says it.
It's
like,
so weird.
yeah.
Yeah, it's almost as weird as I could eat a peach for hours.
it's not.
Oh, I could eat a peach for
such a-
hours.
That is such a bad line.
Yeah, it's such a bad line. It said 8 times in the movie.
Yeah.
Yep. They
For
bring
some reason, I swear, peach is said more than any word in that entire movie.
It said more than nerve gas or face.
Yeah.
They make up. They
I
say
don't
the
know,
word
they
face
made
a
up
That's true.
for
lot.
There is
They made up
they,
with that.
they really made up for it in that one scene of Nick Cassavetes. Took his face off.
You want to take his face?
Off? No more drugs for that man. See, I think this movie's great. You know what? The more I think about it, I'll just watch Face Off again. You look so upset, Brian. No,
'Cause
let's
he's
stop.
so
But let's stay
mad.
in the good place.
Isn't the good place actually the bad place?
Guess we're not worried about spoilers at all. Are we?
Snape kills Dumbledore.
Yeah.
What?
Face Off.
Anything else you want to throw out here, Corey? Just
I'll think
ruin-
of it. I'll think of something.
ruin people's experience, I guess. If I don't really think spoilers ruin people's experience because
This stuff's all been out for years.
Well, also, I
it's
think
not a spoiler
I
anymore.
also think surprise is inherently overrated.
Look.
And
Okay,
not a sole.
if something
a
is-
sole purpose to experience a piece of art is surprise.
If something has just been released in stores or just aired, like last week,
Stores. Okay, Grandpa.
like a book or something, David, then
Yeah, on my
don't
Kindle.
talk about spoilers on air.
yeah, on my fucking Kindle.
Okay,
Old man.
If something's been out for almost a decade, it's not a spoiler anymore. I'm sorry. Like if you haven't watched it yet or read it yet,
I don't wanna talk
you
about spoilers.
probably
I don't
don't.
want to talk about that.
You're right. We don't want to talk about spoilers. Corey, we want to talk about Blizzard.
No.
Corey, you know, if you're gonna go off topic, you have to talk about Activision, Blizzard,
or Linux.
or Linux. These are your 3 options. Or how you like to shit playing Fortnite or whatever. That's
What's
come up
funny is that I
twice.
haven't played Fortnite once since.
You haven't taken a
You haven't shit in how long?
How good was Face Off? It was so good that we started talking about taking shits.
I fucking, you know what? I really enjoyed. Brian, don't be so upset
I think I'm just exhausted.
because of how good Face Off was. It just like
Yeah.
it just took
Yeah.
all you.
It
It
just-
took
it
everything from you. But
took
like
all that
But the
energy.
way like a really good like workout did, where you're like, I feel like I really accomplished something. I
Sucked.
watched Face Off.
All the energy out of
I've
the room.
achieved my life goals.
That movie
for the
ended, and
day.
you were like, I could eat a peach for hours.
Why do I not remember that line?
I don't know
You
if
don't
I could.
remember that line?
I don't know if I could do it as enthusiastically as
so
Nicolas
on the
Cage.
plane, the flight attendant, who's actually an FBI agent, he goes,
Spoilers.
you know what I could really use? Use a peach. You know, I could eat a peach for hours.
Oh, you got that voice way too right.
And then later he says it again. Castor Troy, in the guise of Sean Archer, starts calling his daughter Peach.
And they also use that line, the "I could eat a peach for hours" to
to the
his voice up.
synthesizer.
Yep.
So when he goes, we've implanted this in your neck. So we the only
Oh my God.
audio of him we have.
Just keep repeating
is
this line until we
Peach.
calibrate your voice.
Peach, I could eat a peach for hours. And then John Travolta's like, Peach, I could eat a peach
This
for
we're like,
hours.
Peach.
Peach.
It's really scratchy.
Peach, peach, I could eat a peach for hours. Then finally he moves into a peach. I could eat a peach for hours.
I like the 3D visualizer they had for the voice in that scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The X, Y, and Z axis of sound.
Yeah.
Yes.
Truly accurate to science.
Yeah. Did all
I
that.
just love it when movies get the little details like 3D sound, right? You know?
I like how they go the extra mile to create such a thing when in reality, you didn't need to fucking cut to anything. You could have just seen him talking to a mic and be like, I get it.
You could have directed this movie better,
Fucking
maybe.
damn it.
You think you're better than John Woo?
I would
No,
I don't
no,
think
I
I'm
just don't-
better than John Woo.
Well, I mean, only one of us hasn't made Mission Impossible 2, and it's me. So, I mean, there's that.
All right, but if you had the script, what changes would you make?
To Mission Impossible 2?
No!
Well, I'd...
Not Mission Impossible 2.
to which one?
To Face Off.
Oh, I wouldn't change a word.
Really?
Oh, I'd add more instances of Peach. I could eat a Peach for hours.
You just literally have like a
I'm
10-minute
slowly
loop.
turning into Ted Levine from Silence of the Lambs.
I could eat a page for hours.
Preach for
Was she a great big fat person? Yeah, so she was a large woman. Oh, come on in. I know I got her contact information somewhere. Well, I don't know why that's the scene I'm doing from Silence of the Lambs. That's not the famous scene.
No, it's not.
I'm doing this really strange thing. I'm not even like, could you help me with this couch? Can you get this couch in here? Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
I need a peach.
I need a peach. I'd fuck a peach.
I'd fuck a peach. For
I'd fuck a
hours.
peach. Put the peach in the basket.
I just want to know who fucking
Put the
wrote
peach in the basket.
who wrote that line. Why did they write that?
One
line?
of the 4 credited screenwriters, 3 credited screenwriters.
Is that what they do? Do they go to the bar and just say like, "Say here, like right here, say I could use a peach"?
All right, peach.
Let's see how well
They
this line
focus
works
tested it at bars.
Yeah.
in the real world. Oh, it
Madam,
doesn't.
if I
It's
were to tell
perfect.
you that I could eat a peach, perhaps for hours, would you be aroused? Would this
I-
elicit sexual excitement? It's fine. I'm a screenwriter.
Ma'am,
Please don't call security.
if I were to tell you that I would bite your peach, would you be able to stop me before I rendered you blind? It's another Ted Levine. It's from Shutter Island. Ted Levine's in that movie. He's the warden. That's too obscure for everybody.
I've seen it. I just didn't like it, and
Yeah.
I couldn't.
We're a
That's
face-off community.
That's a great movie. Wait, that's a great movie.
Is it?
I know the complaint is like, we get it. He's really insane. I'm like, yeah, that's why there's 20 minutes after that. That's not the end of the movie. The end of the movie is, I killed my wife. You know what? I'd rather forget. Fucking lobotomize me.
Maybe I should rewatch it sometime.
That's all
Not
it
on
is.
this podcast.
Not on this
We
podcast.
don't watch the good ones.
It's too new. It's too new, and we traffic in nostalgia. And clearly, no one likes Shutter Island. But
You gotta wait at least 10 years.
no, I think it's gotta be. I actually think 20 years is a really good cutoff for us.
So anything from the year 2000 becomes fair game.
Next year it does. Next year, we look forward to our podcast on Swordfish.
I'm out.
I formally resigned from the
I
podcast.
could watch Spice World,
Done.
We can watch Spice World now. The movie came out in like 1998.
Blade, or is that
1998.
So Blade's already on the.
Man, 1998 was really your year, wasn't it? Would you like to
year.
also watch Mercury Rising?
Oh fuck no.
I saw that shit in theaters.
Why?
Because I was 12 and I was like, it's the star of Die Hard. Dad, can we go see Mercury Rising? My dad was like, sure. And I sat there, I was like, this is not like Die Hard.
This is not Die Hard at all. Why does that kid keep making soup every day?
I was like, what? I was like, Alec Baldwin's. I remember thinking, and when I was like, Alec Baldwin's the villain in this movie, but it doesn't seem like he really cares. He's really not giving it his all. So Face Off.
Face Off did nothing for me.
What did you like about it when you were a kid?
I think when I was a kid, I only paid attention to the action scenes. So, like, I would be playing with toys or whatever, and then I'd be like,
And watching Face Off, you know, like kids do.
I'd be like, ooh, man on boat.
Every Saturday morning, I was like, gotta watch my Ninja Turtles, gotta watch my Batman animated series, gotta watch my X-Men, gotta watch Face Off.
Sometimes you just want to see
He-Man,
John Travolta.
We're gonna beat Skeletor. Hey, look, Castor Troy's shooting a gun.
That was a great thing. The nights where like Terminator and RoboCop had like an alien had like action figures. Movies kids should ostensibly have not have seen. Where was my fucking Face Off action figures Were there Broken Arrow action figures?
I think there were.
Where are my face-off action figures? My little caster, and their faces
Would they-
should
I was
switch.
gonna say,
Their
would
Their
they-
faces should come off, and you should switch them. So you gotta buy both.
But-
you gotta get a
Do they have
caster.
buttons on the back? They need to have a button on the back with catchphrases.
I could eat a peach for hours.
But do they come with that little plastic suction thing that you stick on their head and pull their head off?
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the play
it's
set.
magnetic.
The play set is the.
it's magnetic,
The
and there's a
hospital.
play set. There's a hospital play set. Caster comes with his two 1911s that are gold plated.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind a figure of him in the hospital clothes with a cigarette without his face on.
Well, yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the detail. So if you get McFarlane toys to do it, that's when you take off the
Yeah.
face. But yeah, so his catchphrase, I'm going to preach for hours. And then Sean Archer's could be, it won't be a catchphrase. It's instead of Kung Fu Grip, it's that face-touching
Yeah,
movie
it's that-
touch. You hit a button on the back, and his arm comes up, and his fingers run along the face of someone else he loves, which he does a lot in this movie.
Too many times. I was a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I keep watching Face
No,
Off.
his is still I could eat a peach for hours, but it's voice modularized.
Peach.
So
I
like,
gotta eat a peach for hours.
peach.
I can't imagine watching this movie as a kid. It would just give me all the wrong ideas about how the world
Human
works.
sexuality.
Like bullets.
Yeah,
they
of
don't
anything, of
explode.
I would say the worst part about it is the human sexuality part, which sadly, given statistics, is actually very realistic. But so there's the
you
prison
only need the
playset.
two.
You get the speedboat playset.
Yeah, you get this. You get
But those are like floatable toys you can take with you into the
get more than
bathtub.
two. I want a Margaret Cho figure. I want Gavin from Silicon Valley. I want that dude he fakes a heart attack for. I want a Nick Cassavetes one. I want a Gina Gershon one. I want Joan Allen in the hospital place.
So you got like the oil rig. You got the
Yeah, the secret prison. Yeah.
yeah, the little hideout that.
With John Carroll Lynch as the
Ooh.
guard.
But are their boots actually magnets? So you
Of
can,
course
like,
they are.
So he could walk
You're
up your
goddamn right they are.
He could walk
And-
up
and
your
the playset has, like,
refrigerator.
a thin,
That's
like,
part of
metal
the ad.
sheet.
The ad is like a stereotypical mom, like opening the fridge door, and there's a fucking Gaster Troy, just all like fucking Spider-Man on it, and she's like, "Honey," with her hands on her.
I could eat a peach for hours.
Yeah, the little kids like looks like, "I could eat a peach for hours, mom." Oh, you.
Oh my god.
It's like kids. Well, that's the other fucking tie-in. They get masks. And the kids wear masks, and you get the little toy golden gun, and you get the little toy. I don't know what he had, like a 6 hour, just a normal gun. And he's
No,
just
no,
like,
you gotta get the little bundle, like the little toy, or
He comes with a harpoon gun.
Like a-
that's the harpoon gun.
or like a lunchbox for kids with the
Kids,
chiclets and the
it's all-
drugs and the guns.
Kids, it's almost dinner time. What are you guys doing? We're playing Face Off.
That
And
little
one of them's like,
face.
I'm Castor Troy. I'm gonna take your face off.
Oh, you can have a scene towards the very end of the commercial with the kid with the little fake Castor Troy mask on. He's being carried by the kids holding a cigarette, screaming, "Anyone got a light?"
I need a light. I like to play Pollux, and you're like, "Ooh, that kid's fucked up." That kid's just holding an animal weird, and you're like, "Uh oh." He's holding a fish.
Holding a stuffed salmon, going, "Sex sandwich."
Ages hidden up.
Some assembly required. All products sold separately.
This is marketable. I don't know who the market is, but it's
Some
marketable.
retro toy. Oh, I would fucking totally buy these toys.
You just gotta wait for Face Off too.
Face on. It's face on, but the
off.
slash turns into like a 2. And it's like I had to, and it's the truth, like I had to become him. Now he must become me. You're like, wait, that's still the same movie. I would totally watch a requel to this movie if they got Nick Cage and John Travolta back. You know, it'll be their daughter. It'll be their daughter, and he has a son you never knew about, and they swap faces.
I was gonna say maybe the whole movie is just the kid had his face swapped by his father, and he's like living his whole
He
life.
swaps faces with his kid.
No. The kid is like
Interesting.
living
Uh-huh.
his whole life like, why did you swap my face? And he's like, because you remind me of my dead son.
Maybe it's better
That's
that
the whole movie. He's
new
just
plan,
living with
new
that.
plan, spin-off just starring Margaret Cho and Gavin from he died.
Yeah, he's dead.
Margaret Cho, the ghost of Gavin.
She's haunted by Gavin's death, but
Ghost off.
so Margaret Cho's haunted. She sees him in like her waking nightmares. Why didn't you save me, Margaret Cho, or whatever her name was? Deb, I don't know.
Debbie.
She's the head of the FBI now, and she's like, there's one case we never cracked, and I don't know, it's like Castor Troy's son, or weirder, it's Pollux Troy's son. And
So
she
it's
has
a
to-
fish.
It's a fish. It's a half fish man. It's the merman from Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I was gonna say, what if Haunt happened to Face Off because of their connection?
Oh, they joined like
from-
Firestorm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, after
okay.
they had their face
I like
off.
this. No, this is way better. They merge. Now they're one man, but the both consciousnesses are inside. Who's in control?
With the power of peaches.
I want Nicolas Cage to be in control.
Actually, now all of a sudden, I just want a haunt movie starring Nicolas Cage.
And much like Adaptation, he should play both brothers.
Yep, I'm down.
Signed.
They're twins now.
Normally I'd say no, but after watching Mandy, I'm down.
Yeah.
Give me the character from Mandy playing as the priest. I don't know. I don't like Haunt anymore.
Daniel.
Haunt, man.
Was it Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah. I can't believe I fucking remember
Daniel
that.
and Kurt.
Why do I... Man, kill me now.
That's
I should not remember
That's
that.
a real shame.
Oh, I just feel sad now.
You want to feel sadder? We have one more film to go.
So, Brian, on the Road to Mandy, which is what this ongoing miniseries is going to be called, check in regularly. We're not going to do it every week, but you're going to see some
We're
more.
going to keep doing Nick Cage until we eventually get to Mandy.
Mandy.
Stay tuned.
There's a lot of Cage out there.
In any order we want, and no, we don't have to do it all. And honestly, we may get bored and give up and forget about this next week. But you know what? Such is our right. The show is free, so fuck you.
This is good. This is what we want.
this is how we
Just skip Face Off.
How does it compare to Mandy? Which is what we're going to ask.
It doesn't.
We're going to ask at the end of every road. How does this compare to Mandy?
It does not. It's
What?
not even the same actor.
If you could take one thing about Face Off and put it in Mandy, and you have to pick something, what is it?
John Travolta.
Ooh, interesting.
That's
Okay.
a weird choice. I was
The
going to
whole
say Peaches.
enchilada. I was going to say Peaches.
Does that mean Mandy has bad supporting?
You know, Mandy, I could eat a
Yeah,
peach for hours. I still haven't seen the movie. I have no idea what sense it is. I know Linus Roach is in it. That's about all I got. Do you think
This is
John
all I've
Travolta
ever
wants
wanted.
to be as
There's-
weird as Nicolas Cage and nobody's asking him to?
There's like one character he could be.
What if halfway through Mandy, switch faces of Nicolas Cage
Nicolas
and take
Cage's
over the half of the
character.
movie?
Yep.
Then I
Really
would,
David Lynch it up. Really make it like Mulholland Drive or Lost Highway.
then it wouldn't be a good movie.
Just halfway through the film, they change actors and never acknowledge it.
Anyway, that was Face Off. I loved it.
Actually, I liked it.
Man of refined taste.
I got to see the origin of some of the oldest internet memes of Nicolas Cage's face.
That's true. There's a lot of good. This is up there with Vampire's Kiss with a lot. Which, by the way, oh, Brian looks so happy that we're gonna watch Vampire's
Oh,
Kiss.
it's gotta be so good.
I never misfile anything. A B C D E F G.
I don't understand, and I don't know if I want to.
Oh, you're gonna understand everything.
I'm looking forward to this. I don't have a clue.
Steve, would you recommend Face Off?
Would you give it a 5 out of 7?
How many faces would you give?
I would give it.
How many peaches
I would give
you
it
give
6 peaches.
How long would you eat a peach for in relation to how good the film is? How many hours?
I would eat a peach for at least 2 out of 5 hours. 2.5 hours out of 5.
I give it 8 face touches. So, The Road to Mandy.
There's still another film that we took part in.
The Road to Mandy's lawn. It's full of highs. It's full of lows. Obviously, we all agree, and there's no way anyone would disagree right now. The Face Off was a high,
It was a higher point.
relative high to
it was
part
a-
2, Simon West's Con Air.
For me, Con Air is maybe one of the worst things we've watched in our podcast history.
Boy, that's saying
That's
a lot.
a bold statement, sir.
I really didn't like it. I've never seen Nick Cage with an accent like
that. So for those who don't know, Con Air is a film that in which Nicolas Cage plays Cameron Poe
from Bama.
from Alabama, from Mobile, Alabama, and Nicolas Cage's accent is
Oh, it's rough.
it's something. He plays an army ranger who is coming back home to see his pregnant wife, and a bar fight ensues with some rowdy gentlemen, and he accidentally kills one of them. He is immediately sentenced to like 7 years in prison. He's going to be paroled, and for whatever reason, he and some other nonviolent offenders, including his friend, so he's diabetic, so they're all going to get on this plane. The U.S. Marshals are going to transport them. In addition to that, Mobile, Alabama is about to open fucking apparently Arkham Asylum. As a result, this plane is filled with some of the worst criminals, and they get a real Suicide Squad open. They each come off the plane and fucking graphics come up on a cool catchphrase names as what appears to be a strung out John Cusack playing a U.S. Marshals lists them because
Oh man, that was
I don't know what's going on in his
rough.
life. Cole Meany plays a DEA agent. They want to put somebody undercover on the plane. One of the inmates knows something about a big drug bust. The mastermind of these criminals is Cyrus the Virus, played by John Malkovich, and he takes over the plane. Couple of things to keep Nicolas Cage in the game. His friend is a diabetic, as we previously have set up perfectly, and
Yep.
perfect screenwriting. in the taking over the plane, his insulin is destroyed, so he's going to die. He's going to go into diabetic shock and most likely die. Also, there is inexplicably an attractive female prison guard on this plane that includes some of the most dangerous rapists and murderers. Danny Trejo plays a convicted serial rapist, and he basically threatens to rape her. And Nicolas Cage is like, I gotta stay and save this woman and my friend, because it's the right thing to do, and good on him. And anyway,
principles.
I'm not going to get into the details of what happens for the next 2 hours, but the movie starts a lot. The plane lands, then it takes off, then it lands again, then it takes off again, and then they end up in Vegas, and then there's a chase on a fire truck. It's a lot like Speed, except it's like an hour longer somehow. And
it's not like Speed, except the bus gets to stop often.
Steve Buscemi plays like fucking Hannibal Lecter, and he gets away, and that's charming, I guess. And Nicolas Cage murders John Malkovich and goes home a hero.
Yeah, it's a weird movie.
Yeah, and it's weird because what you just described seems to fit with the plot I remember. This movie...
David, you're not wrong.
this movie was technically almost half an hour shorter than the first movie we watched.
Boy, it does not feel it.
No.
But it felt
like
longer than the Titanic.
That's because, Connor, it stops and it starts. Like, the momentum doesn't keep going in one direction, where Face Off has some slower scenes, but at least the movie is moving in a direction. This movie, will actually stop its story to do other things, which is a fucking death nail to momentum and pace.
It stalls. The movie stalls.
Why do we follow Cole Meany to go chase down the plane? So at one point they take the transponder off the plane, they put it on a tourist plane to divert the feds from their trail. There should just be the scene of them planting the transponder. We should never cut to those people ever again. We get it. You got led astray. It should be one line with John Cusack on the phone where he's like, don't follow the transponder. It should not be like 4 minutes of the movie. And there's a million things like that in the movie.
Yeah. Unnecessary details that don't add anything. Unnecessary conversations that don't add anything.
How much shorter than Face Off?
So this was 115 minutes. Face Off was 140.
For a movie that's like half an hour shorter, I think there's 4 times the amount of speaking parts in Con Air.
There's a lot of exposition for
it's like it's a mad world. But Con Air.
They do talk a bit slower when they got the Alabama.
That's true. Everyone's real laconic.
I really enjoyed Nicolas Cage trying to sound Southern. It amused me.
I've seen a lot of his movies, and this might be one of my least favorites.
You clearly haven't seen enough of his movies. I mean, I didn't like this movie, but you have not seen
enough of his movies.
Buckle up, because you are about to
I don't know. About halfway through the film, we were getting bored with it, so we started going through Brian's movie shelf. And the fact that you would talk shit about this, but then go, hey, look at this copy of...
Don't say titles, because they're spoilers for upcoming episodes.
Redacted.
There were some films of his that you had on your shelf that I go, I question
the validity
of your
taste.
judgment when it comes to these movies. I know this one was bad, but man, you got some bad ones.
No, I used to go to CD Warehouse all the time and buy just random movies.
How you don't own Con Air is kind of beyond me.
This is my first time ever watching it.
You literally have pointed out things on the shelf you have never watched.
How?
I think that's maybe wrong. Unless it's...
Redacted.
Oh.
I'll cut this out.
Yeah, I was about to say, you just cut it. I don't know why you're trying really hard like it's live.
It's live. Shit, we're live.
That's very similar.
Guys, this is live.
It's very similar to the
Redacted
situation.
Hey.
Off of the Con Air topic for a second, there may be some good shows coming up based solely upon Brian's Shelf.
Yeah, that's the next miniseries. After the Road to Mandy, it's going to be called Brian's Shelf.
Yeah, we're going to have to rename the podcast.
That's why it's cattywampus, Corey, because there is no structure.
There is no law.
I can still think that there might be a semblance of a possibility of structure.
No, not at all.
There's no spoon.
Thank you, sir.
Put the bunny back in the box. And I could eat a peach for hours. I could eat a bunny for hours.
I'm Steve Buscemi. I'm weird. I don't remember anything he fucking says in the movie.
You don't have to. All you need to know about Steve Buscemi is he's basically Hannibal Lecter or Charles Manson. Take your pick. Yeah. And at some point, he has a very long interaction with a young girl in an empty swimming pool in a trailer park. And they sing, and they play with dolls.
And then the camera starts to tilt in this way that implies it's not real, but then they never follow up on that. It seems
Which was the
real.
far more interesting film.
Yeah, that was weird. I mean, the character is weird. Steve Buscemi is weird.
Brian's just falling asleep.
He fell asleep during the movie, so it's only fair.
Oh, yeah, it's only fair.
To recreate what we felt, Brian will now fall asleep.
This is going to be the best ASMR.
You might have snoring in the middle of the podcast.
That's the ASMR we've been
yeah,
waiting
that's
for.
the ASMR we've been trying to do.
Isn't it kind of like Snakes on a Plane?
In
Except
what way?
snakes
Go
on-
on.
And then it's fucking stupid.
No,
Well, yes, in that way
I
it
would
is.
rather watch Snakes on a Plane.
I would not.
I would
Also,
not.
that it tries to take itself too seriously, to be too stupid to be good.
Snakes on a Plane, I remember it started and there's a dude on a motorcycle. And like 10 minutes in, credits rolled. I was like, okay, well, after this, we'll cut to the plane. And they did, and I turned it off.
Now I know what was wrong with Con Air. When do we get to the fireworks factory?
Snakes on the Plane is a real case of when do we get to the fireworks factory. I was like, when the fuck is this plane? You do not call your movie this and market it this way and not be on this plane by minute 6.
No, at Con Air, we jumped
We
into
got
the
to the
plane
plane.
kind of quick. There was at least,
Not really. There was a very long montage of his daughter growing up in the several. They decided
Well,
they
it
were going
starts
to
with
take
his
us through-
discharge.
It starts with his discharge and the instant that got him incarcerated. We see a snippet of his trial, and then we see a montage of all 7 years of him in prison.
They
he's
all looked very similar. They all involved him reading books and working out.
interesting detail.
And then you just cut to his hair being long and wizard-like.
There's a quick scene. It's a very quick, like maybe 5-second thing. Where
Real
you can see him
wispy.
practicing
It was
Spanish,
real wispy.
which
Yeah.
you think would be really relevant, but he never uses
That's weird
that.
too, because Spanish is also the code for the terrorists, so it seems
Yeah,
to
and-
imply that he would know that would be important.
And the
but it's
connecting
not.
flight that's going to take them to presumably South America or Mexico it's run by people that are speaking Spanish. And you would think,
You're like,
oh,
oh, Nick Cage will
and
have this skill,
right? We saw him learning
and
this for
therefore
years,
know something.
and he doesn't.
He doesn't really use it now.
No, not at all. Zero use. It's
No.
like
The only
they set
thing-
it up and they never followed up.
The only thing you needed to know about his time in prison was the fact that his hair got really long and seemed to have the magical ability to control the wind.
Oh, he was like Samson.
Anytime
Did you
he
think
would,
his hair gave him strength?
not only that, it allowed him to control time and wind.
Yeah, because time slows down
I
when you
just
see his
kicked
hair.
Brian, and he shook his head no, like I'm not waking up. No, I refuse.
No, I don't like Con Air. No, I do not wish to discuss it.
Nobody likes Con Air. You just learn
No,
to live with it.
Tony said he likes Con Air more than Face Off.
Opposite for me.
Brian's roommate yelled from downstairs how much he loved Con Air while we were watching it, and would ask where we were in the movie.
Oh yeah, like he'd hear like a bit of like the audio, and he'd say,
was like,
"Did
"Is
this
that-
guy just fall to the floor?"
Is that my beloved Con Air right here?
He's watched this movie a few times.
Well,
and
when you see, as a boy, when Brian was watching Face Off and playing with action figures,
This face-off action
Tony
figures.
was playing Con Air
With his Cameron Poe action figure.
with his Cameron Poe and his Cyrus the Virus action figures, with his airplane play.
I bought a Danny Trejo figure. It says he has Kung Fu Rape.
oh no!
It was one of those under cold water tattoos. That every time you read
no.
Danny Trejo's arm under cold water, it added a heart to his tattoo.
God. Ugh.
Why?
No, thank you.
Why?
Don't forget your Steve Buscemi playset where he sits across from a child in the middle of an empty pool.
I don't know. There's a lot of things where I'm like, I get why people like it, but like Con Air, like I don't get it.
It's over time. I mean, there's definitely the Jerry Bruckheimer had a period of time where he was making these movies, and they were pretty successful. They were dynamic for their time. You know, I think a lot of it was there was a lot of flash to them, and Bruckheimer, really started to pull from those music video directors. You got Top Gun and Flashdance, and you got these movies that just had a different look to them coming out of the 70s, and he kind of pushed that in the 90s with obviously bringing in Michael Bay.
Man, there were a lot of action movies in the 90s.
There's a lot of action
80s through
movies.
90s, right?
Now,
There's a lot of action movies
there's-
now.
A lot of action movies.
Maybe
Black Panther is an action movie.
is it?
Yes.
what?
You're asking if the movie where
No,
two
it's a
were
period piece.
it's a sitting room drama.
There's like 15 minutes of action the entire movie.
That's not true. The movie opens with an action sequence where he attacks a bunch of militiamen. There's a car chase after a casino fight. There's 2 trial by combats in the film. There's then a giant war. People ride rhinos into battle, and then Black Panther and Killmonger
Have a-
fight through a shaft.
With,
Oh,
it's
okay, so
like
maybe
Dragon
30
Ball,
minutes
The
of
no,
action.
that
No,
last,
there's more action in that movie than you think.
and the last
I will
fight's
load this
basically
video
Dragon
up.
Ball.
Yep.
I will analyze it.
Yeah, that's
What-
a real.
what do you
that's
mean they're
a
not
hill you wanna
action
die
movies?
On. That's not a hill to die on.
Like Avengers Infinity War is an action movie.
I
thought it was a murder mystery.
I recall my previous.
There's a murder mystery. It's like Agatha Christie's Avengers Infinity War.
I thought it was like a sci-fi thriller.
I propose that Thanos is in this very room. but I mean, action movies have been a thing. I mean,
Since action was invented.
yeah, since the dawn of cinema, because like
I
westerns.
remember when I invented action.
I guess they've just evolved.
Yeah, they changed. Like westerns were action films for the most part.
Like Con Air was
an aesthetic.
was considered like a good action movie back in '97.
No.
I don't even know what the critical. I would imagine critics were actually. I don't know. I don't know what the critical response was.
Neither do I, but like
I did no
Face Off
research
was
for this.
popular, right?
I don't know. We were kids. Does anyone have a phone?
Here's what I'm getting at. Maybe these movies were considered to be better than we consider them to be today.
That's probably a fair
So
statement.
how well do you think Black Panther, the Avengers are going to hold up in 20 years?
Well, the two movies you picked are, I can almost guarantee you, more critically acclaimed than the two movies we watched in their own time.
So do you think they're still going to be just as exciting?
I think they'll hold up better.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
I think
I
Black
think our
Panther will
standards are
hold
gonna
up
change.
way better
I
than
think
Con
Black
Air.
Panther will hold up infinitely better than Con
Black
Air.
Panther has performances that resonate.
Maybe it'll hold up, but not.
There are classic films from the 90s, though.
And you know, we look at these 90s
Don't
action
look, you look at me
films.
like,
No,
are
no.
there?
No.
But
I'm
were there good movies in the 90s?
I'm sure they're good, but I'm sure they don't hold up.
Pulp Fiction doesn't hold up, but it's
Yeah.
good. What the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about this during movies. Like, we call these like pre-9/11 world.
Oh, these
These are definitely pre-9/11 films.
yeah,
Technically, but also like the way these movies were shot.
Well, the
would
way they
The
not
sensibility,
pass.
like the sensibility, is such a weird, like, can you believe the fucking FBI? And you're like trying to stop terrorists,
beating up veterans because fuck
Oh
you.
yeah, exactly. You're a veteran. I want to fuck your girlfriend. I'm gonna fight you in the parking lot.
You lost
That's not something
Vietnam
that-
in the middle of the 90s. Hey, you fucking lost Vietnam, and I'm sure those fucking assholes exist.
This film implies that he came back from what, Kuwait?
I have a feeling you're kind of, and he's an army ranger specifically. To me, that rings of Mogadishu.
He literally gets shit on for being an army ranger.
Yeah,
and then
you
when
piece of shit.
Yeah, and then when he accidentally kills this dude, the first thing the courts go is, "Oh, well, you're dangerous. Fuck you."
You are a deadly weapon.
Yeah, this is in Alabama.
Not
That
at
judge
all.
does not support our troops.
But this was pre-9/11.
Pre 9/11. Well, that's because
Where that was okay.
yes, there was this really weird, not really weird, but there was this huge pervasive undercurrent of this anti-establishment, but like
That's
really,
true.
really, really like safe anti-establishment, not real
You
anti-establishment.
mean
but, like,
Rage Against the Machine anti-establishment?
I would say that's an accurate assessment. You know, where the most punk thing we had was The Offspring. All these movies where it's like, well, you know, the fucking military, what do they know? You fucking government, what do you know? Like, that's the sense. Only our lone hero knows what's up. Even, I mean, the fucking X-Files is about two FBI agents who basically sit around and go, fucking government, man.
I mean, even when they brought it back, it was basically still that. Yeah,
I don't want to talk about them bringing it back.
Brian wants to talk about Con Air. That's all he wants to talk
Brian
about.
wants
I want
sleep.
to talk about eyelids.
Brian
Go
wants to talk about
Tell
peaches.
me, yeah, could you eat a peach for hours?
How many peaches could you eat
In how many hours?
in the next hours?
At least-
How much peach could a
at least
woodchuck
12.
eat if a woodchuck could eat peach?
Well, for the
I could watch Mandy for the rest of my life.
Okay, so is
before
Con Air
watching
better
Con
than
Air.
Mandy?
No, Con Air is awful.
so we'll
What part of Con Air would you
Yes.
put into Mandy?
Danny Trejo.
The rapist?
Yes.
What?
You wouldn't put in Cyrus the Virus or
he
Steve
might
Buscemi?
already be in there.
He
I don't
picked
know.
that character randomly.
Have you never seen Mandy? I'd like to see John Cusack in the film.
Well, wait, which John Cusack? Current day John Cusack? Or that disheveled, skinny, looks like he's dying John Cusack
I would like
from
to see.
Con Air?
I would like to see current day John Cusack, but I'd like them to use that Marvel digital de-aging technology to make him look like 1997 Con Air.
Like, for
John
those of
Cusack.
you who are not going to watch Con Air, because I know none of you are going to watch Con Air,
Yeah, it's
if
also-
you have any kind of rational thought. But John Cusack literally looks like a kid playing dress
He
up
looks
in this
unhealthy. I'm a little I mean, he's alive still.
He's
so
clearly
like,
not dead, so
I'm
he's
not
fine.
concerned, but it was concerning.
Had I had my wherewithal and I was old enough to understand what I was looking at as a child, I probably would have said, "Hey, Dad, should we call somebody?"
Should we call Joan? Should we call Joan Cusack?
So Danny Trejo is what you would take from this film to interject into Mandy.
Better than Dave Chappelle. By the way, Dave Chappelle's in this movie. and it's not great.
No, it's not good, Dave Chappelle.
I thought I liked Dave Chappelle, and then I watched this movie, and I went, I don't think I like Dave Chappelle. Because one, I don't think this ever works in movies. They do this where they hire this comedian, and it's like, hey man, we're just leave the camera rolling, throw out a couple good ones, just keep riffing on it, just keep going. And the movie inevitably keeps like 6 of them in a row, because he starts making these jokes about this Native American character. And instead of like in a normal movie with an actor, you would have written one joke, and he would have said it, and the movie would have moved on. But he says it, and then they use it as ADR throughout the scene. You hear him making different riffing jokes. And they cut back to him to get 6 more good ones in because they're like, well, this is all gold. Just so 6 jokes in a row, but it's the same fucking placeholder. But you just need one of them, and then you do like 6. That happens a couple times with him. And that's not his fault. Like, that's the movie's fault.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. Like Jim Carrey is like definitely like a big problem where a lot of movies would use him in like Batman Forever. It's one moment that deserves one joke, and they keep like 3 in a row, and sometimes it's in one unedited shot where you watch him just say 3 things in a row, and I'm like, it's like you're watching him do the takes, and a better edited movie like The Mask doesn't do that. In The Mask, it's like one joke, next part of the scene, new joke,
and removing, and here's a joke.
Yeah, it's like the story doesn't derail to give you 6 different options.
Choose your joke.
Yeah, it's a choose your own joke adventure.
So Con Air. How many? All right, we'll start with
how many peaches?
That's
just the rating system for all of them.
No, how many bunnies would you put in the box?
How many Alabama accents would you put?
0.
Zero bunnies in the box.
You gotta put 1. One's the lowest.
Put the bunny back in the box.
I'm putting
Fuck you, I don't have to do it. I'm not your puppet.
I'm putting 0 in that
How
box.
many worlds would you put in your hands?
I'm putting no. I am curious to see what you guys think of Mandy, because I do think.
Yeah, keep waiting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll get there.
I don't know if it's.
Eventually.
There's a road.
I don't know if it's if he's older or if he just like, I don't know, takes it more serious than now. But he seems.
I think it's just he always makes really, really bold choices, and sometimes that just doesn't fit the movie.
It's more
Treasure
human.
A bold choice?
I've still never even seen National Treasure.
Oh, get ready.
Yeah.
We're gonna do both of them. Maybe.
Oh,
Wait, what? There's a second one?
Book of Secrets.
I've heard you could basically skip that second.
Oh no, I disagree. I think the second one's the one is where it's at.
Yep.
The
We're
second
going to
one's
steal
where
the
you wanna be.
Declaration of Independence.
Well, no, so that's the first one. The
I
second
know.
one is we're going to kidnap the president to prove my ancestor didn't kill Abraham Lincoln. And then there's a Book of Secrets, and there's a setup for the third movie that is one of the best setups for a sequel I've ever seen in my life.
And it's a damn shame we didn't get the third.
Bruce Greenwood is the president, which awesome, obviously pre-Scandal, solid presidential casting choice. The show Scandal, he didn't have a scandal. He's the president on the show Scandal.
Oh.
Corey Gans is looking like Scandal.
What
Captain
did he
Pike?
do?
Captain Pike in a scandal? I've never heard such a thing.
And another one. That's what I'm thinking.
Because he's read the Book of Secrets that is passed down from president to president. Keep awake, Brian. This is for you.
This is important.
Nicolas Cage and the Chamber of Secrets.
And at the end, the president thanks Nicolas Cage for his service and understands why he had to kidnap him. And he goes, by the way, did you happen when you had the book to look at page 96, ominous music? And Nicolas Cage goes, I did, Mr. President. He goes, I have some few ideas about how to help you with that. He goes, I thought you might.
That sounds like the end of Resident Evil 4 and the beginning of Resident Evil 6.
Oh my god.
4 and the end of 4 and
Are you
beginning
talking
of
about
6?
the game or the movie?
The games.
Beginning of 6. I don't remember I played 6, but I remember the beginning.
At the end of 4, you save the president's daughter.
Yep.
And you ride off in the sunset on your jet ski.
Yep.
Yeah, quality. And then the beginning of 6.
Yeah, but Con Air didn't do it for you, huh?
The beginning of 6, you are resuming that role to protect the president's daughter.
I remember. I played 6, but it was not memorable.
It's awful. 6 is probably the worst.
Oh no, 6 is hands down the worst.
Yeah.
No, the new Resident Evil 2 remake is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the first remake and the second remake are probably the two best games in the series. But
Well, I heard they're already working on remaking 3, so
I did play a lot of 3.
I played the shit out of
I
Resident Evil 3.
just did a playthrough of 3 about a week ago.
I probably played
Or
more
2
3
weeks,
than any
3
of them.
weeks.
I just enjoyed 3 because Nemesis was really fucking terrifying. Because
So-
he would just show up at fucking random.
So replaying it, I realized he's actually not in it. I guess not as often as I remembered.
It was all, but it was always at the most inopportune time he was in it.
So what would happen if Nicolas Cage was cast in the Resident Evil TV show that may happen?
As Nemesis?
Yes.
Sure.
No, as Jill.
No, as a new character, and then surprise, he turns.
Oh no,
he
actually,
turns into
Wesker.
Nemesis.
Wesker. Oh my god, I want Nicolas Cage as Wesker so bad now.
I don't know if I want him as Wesker or
No,
if
I
I
do.
want him as like the trench coat guy from 2. I can't remember his name.
Are you talking about the Tyrant?
No, Tyrant's. I can't think of the name of the guy, but he's in the trailers for Resident Evil 2 remake. He's got a trench coat on and a little hat. His face looks like Hellboy.
You mean little hat?
He looks like
Define little hat.
little.
He's got a small hat.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time since I saw that hat.
So he'll play Nemesis. What he's gonna do? He's gonna play a guy, and then at the end of
With a
season
trench
1,
coat
at the end of
and a
season
little
1, he
hat.
turns into to Nemesis, and you're like, oh shit!
But he still has the little
I think
hat.
Brian's about to pass me a picture.
No, I would.
Are you showing me the hat or not?
I'm
You're
about
gonna
to.
show me the little hat.
It's not really. I guess it's not that small of a hat. Interesting.
You son of a bitch! That's a normal sized hat.
It's a normal size hat,
For the audience, this is a completely normal hat.
and it's a picture of Mr. X.
And that would be Tyrant. That is the
So
that is
it's
normal
Tyrant.
size
so it's
hat.
Mr. X, and then he mutates.
I don't
guess.
care
Oh,
who
no,
he is.
he-
I care about this hat,
I was told I
or
would
what
get
we
a
now
little
call
hat.
Hatgate. This is negative 6 hours of eating a peach.
Verdict.
I'm
Put the money
throwing
in
up
the
a
box
peach right now. That's how bad this is. Because of all the peaches I ate.
that you ate for so many hours.
By the way, I've never tried to actually just eat a peach. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't take hours.
It definitely only takes like 5 seconds. But
They're really easy to eat.
Well, I get that part. It's a metaphor. But I know there's some fruits.
That's what I was
Oh,
concerned
really?
about.
What?
That's what I was very concerned about. I was like, David, did you really think he was talking about peaches?
Whoosh!
Wait, what? Oh no, no, because I know
Oh
some.
no, my delicate sensibilities.
So I find oranges like way too citrusy to actually eat myself. I know people do that.
I don't like the texture. I like the taste.
I
don't
will
like
not eat an orange for hours.
Well, I like oranges.
Homophobe.
Oh boy.
Well, gentlemen, as entertaining as this has been, I think we should wrap it up. I've got peaches to eat for hours.
Brian has left
Brian's
the room.
physically leaving.
Okay.
We're watching him leave. We're watching him go.
The door's out.
He's in a different room now.
And I have been Steve.
Yeah, I've been Corey.
Sometimes I'm Brian.
I've been David.
If you excuse us, we have peaches to eat.
You've been listening to Cattywampus. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr at CattyWampusPod. Email us at cattywampuspodcast@gmail.com. Music by Tilly.